Yes, in the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most beneficent. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Government Emerson College, Multan. I am Rabia Mohsin, Assistant Professor of English at Government Emerson College, Multan. I warmly welcome all of you to this live session of interview development skills initiated by Government Emerson College, Multan. This is the first time that Government Emerson College, Multan has taken this initiative. All of you know that GC is the hallmark of excellence since 1920, and without any doubt, it is producing people, professionals in every walk of life to achieve a respectable place in society is the dream of every individual. But the competition is becoming tough and tough, and in this scenario, the complete scenario is changing, and again the fight is for the survival of the fittest. Keeping in view the need of the hour, it is Government Emerson College Multan and the principal Government Emerson College Multan who is kind enough with us that he has provided us an opportunity to arrange this symposium for the students of GEC Multan in particular and for the other aspirants of lectureship in general. This interview will help to familiarize them with the nature and the process of interview. All the students will be able to learn many things from the scholars that are present with us here. For today's enlightenment session, we have renowned scholars and academicians with us who also serve as members of different recruitment boards, and here they will instruct you what are the prerequisites of an interview, how it begins and closes. Moreover, verbal and non-verbal behaviors make the interview a successful candidate. Here I formally welcome Professor Dr. Zia Ahmed, Principal, Government Emerson College, Multan, Professor Shafiq Chaudhary, ex-head of the Department English and Government Emerson College, Multan, and Professor Dr. Atar Munir Siddiqui, Assistant Professor of English at Government Emerson College, Multan, and Dr. Adnan Tahir, who has been the head of the Department English. They are with us for this talk, and they have spared time for this purpose. Professor Dr. Zia Ahmed is working as a principal and head of the Department English at Government Emerson College, Multan. He has earned his PhD degree in 2012. He is serving as adjunct faculty at ISB Multan and visiting faculty at Namal and BZU Multan. He served at BZU Multan for the period of 5. He has served at BZU for the period of 5 and ran Department of English as coordinator under the DDE and successfully supervised more than 20 MPhil candidates. He is involved with BZU Multan for PhD supervision and an approved supervisor, and is also rendering his services as subject expert to many universities of Pakistan as well as abroad. Along with this, he is also attached with PPSC Lahore. He is the author of many research papers in his subject. He teaches post-colonial fiction, Pakistani fiction, and postmodernist fiction. He visited University of North Texas, USA in 2015 and conducted his postdoctoral research. He has published more than 25 articles and delivered speeches at local and international level as well. He has also recorded video lectures in International Islamic University, Malaysia in 2017 and La Roche University, France on 6th May 2019. Along with him, we have a special guest, Professor Shafiq Chaudhary. He is the ex-head of the Department English Emerson and has been a subject specialist at PPSC also. Sir, I warmly welcome you here for sparing special time for us. Along with Dr. Shafiq, we have Professor Dr. Adnan Tahir with us, who is presently working as head of the English Department, Bukhara University, and previously served as head of the Department English, Emerson, Multan. He earned his PhD from National University of Modern Languages, Islamabad. In 2012, his expertise are beyond measure in socialization and professional development of English language teachers. He has more than 20 years of teaching and academic administration experience. He is an eminent member of Board of Studies at Rifa International University, ComSet's Institute of Technology, WA campus, and he has also served at many other well-reputed national as well as international universities, including Qaid-e-Azam University and Islamic International University, Islamabad. He has distinctive experience in several entrance exams as well, like GMAT, SAT, GRE, IELTS, and many others. He authored more than 35 articles and delivered speeches in several seminars, nationally as well as internationally. He has successfully supervised more than 65 MPhil students, and he is also an authorized supervisor for PhD. So thank you for being here with us. Along with him, we have also Dr. Athar Munir Siddiqui with us, who is actually the figure who has he is the figure who has arranged this symposium, and the real instinct behind this symposium is Professor Dr. Athar Munir Siddiqui. His expertise in testing and evaluation uh, is marvelous, and he is working presently as assistant professor of English in GEC. He earned his PhD from University of Azad Jammu and Kashmir. In 2016, he served as subject specialist in recruitment process at Tavata Sambo, Excel Grammar School System, and other organizations. He is an ex-visiting academic at University of Canterbury, New Zealand. He is also recipient of Altex Innovation Award, British Council, London in 2017. Furthermore, he led several funded projects sponsored by British Council, London, US Embassy, Islamabad, and he has supervised more than 30 MPhil theses and is author of 10 articles as well. Thank you, sir, for being here with us.
Thank you very much.
Now I welcome, sir. Now I proceed for expert opinion from the worthy guests about the question for which the students are usually worried. The students who have qualified their written test examination and now they are about to appear in the interviews, and they are very curious to know about the answers of some questions. Sir, for this purpose, I would like to ask Dr. Athar Munir to please direct the upcoming lecturers how to ensure their jobs. Dr. Athar Munir, sir, I request you, please guide the students that how they should prepare for the interview. Means when they are appearing for the interview panel, how should they dress up themselves and the general things that they should do before going to the interview. Yes, sir.
Uh, Thank you, Ma'am Rabia, for inviting me to talk on this important topic. Well, first of all, I'd like to say that fail to plan is a plan to fail. I mean, if you do not plan for the most important event in your life, then you have planned certainly to be a failure. And beyond any doubt, you know, uh, lectureship interview is the most life-changing occasion in one's life. I remember that I appeared in the interview of Public Service Commission as a lecturer in 1998, some 22 years before, and then I became a lecturer because I passed the interview test. I passed the interview. So it's very important to do appropriate preparations. If you ask me, then I would say that I mean, the the candidates should focus on certain aspects related to the subject. First of all, they should prepare the subject for the interview as they did for the written test. They should try to cover the important and key aspects related to the subject. And again, the most important thing is they should anticipate the questions. As an intelligent student, they should anticipate what the interviewers might be asking to them. For example, why do you want to be a teacher? Why you have not chosen to be something else? Or if there are any gaps in your studies, or if you have achieved any, achievements in your career then they might be asking these things. So you should be ready to discuss these things with your interviewers, and you should do appropriate rehearsal for this purpose. And you can have mock interviews with your seniors, with your friends, with your class fellows. And the another important thing is, if there are any gaps in your studies, then you should be ready to explain the reasons behind the gaps. And another thing is related to your dress up. So dressing makes a man, we know, everybody knows. So uh, if candidates are going to appear before the interviewing panel, then they should be formally dressed. I remember when I appeared in the interview some some years before, then I chose to wear pant shirt, I mean two-piece, and a black shoes. So you should wear formal dress. If you choose to wear national dress, then you should wear shalwar kameez with waistcoat. Without waistcoat, you should not go, and you should not wear any glasses, and you should not wear any caps. So it has to do with what you should wear and what you should not wear. For example, any caps or uh, any glasses should not be put on, and you should not have any heavy thing in your pocket. If you need to carry your mobile, that should be off, because if it is on silent or if it is on vibration, then you will be disturbed. So uh, these are some of the things which people should do as a part of preparation, and they should do rehearsals as much as they can, and they should try to rehearse the questions which are most frequently asked, and they should try to you know draw up the list of questions which they can think of the interviewers will be asking. Thank you.
Welcome, sir. Sir, these were the things that you told about the dressing of the students. Now, I would like to ask you, sir, what things the students should carry with them when they are going for the interview? What things they should accompany with them, sir?
All right. Usually, there are a few things which every candidate must bring to the room. For example, the original documents. Of course, the interviewers may demand to have a look at the original documents, and then a complete CV along with 3 4 copies, so that if the panel would like to have a look at the CV, then they may have a look. And then there should be, of course, a tissue paper in case you need that. And if you have authored any research article or any book or any thesis, then you must put it on the table in front of you, so that the interviewer have a look at it, and they might be asking questions. And I would like to add another thing, that if you choose to bring any research article or any book which you have authored, then you must be ready to talk about that, because naturally the interviewers will be uh, talking and discussing these important things.
Thank you, sir. Sir, now I would like you to please share your personal experience with the students, because you are a teacher as well as you have appeared before the competitive examination uh, purposes several times. So please share your personal experiences with the students.
All right, thank you, and Rabia. I would like to share my experience of appearing in the Public Service Commission, because students here are going to appear before the same panel, I mean Public Service Commission for the post of lecturer. So in 1998, I was also a candidate of lecturership. And I remember when I was preparing for the post of lecturer, then I, you know, uh, took great care of my throat, that I didn't take any salty or any sour thing, so that there is no problem with my throat. And then on that very day, I chose to go to the interview place sometime before. I managed to reach there before time, and I took a rickshaw. Why rickshaw? I could have gone over there in public transport. I was jobless. I could have gone over there in a public transport that was cheaper, but I chose to go over there in a rickshaw so that my hairstyle and other things remain intact. And when I entered the uh, interview room at my
जी
turn, the interviewers asked me to sit down. I
जी
greeted them,
जी
and the first question they asked me was, uh, introduce yourself. I introduced myself briefly, and then the very important question, the next question was very important, and that was thrown to me by the chairman of the panel interviewing committee. He said, gentlemen, what have you read outside your syllabus? So when I told him, and the other members of the panel were also, of course, listening, that, sir, I have uh, read most of Shakespeare. And he wasn't ready to believe. He said, have you actually read most of Shakespeare? I said, yes, sir. He said, I think you might have read the summary. I said, no, sir. I gently protested that I have not read the summaries. I have read the original, plays. He said, are you familiar with Julius Caesar? I said, yes, sir, I have. He said, can you tell me something about Antony? And of course, then I told him about Antony and about Brutus and other things. And then he asked me to quote something from the speech of Antony. That was, friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. The evil that men do lives after them. The good is often interred with their bones. So let it be with Caesar. So uh, read. I was able to recall all the quotation, all the speech of Antony, which he did at the funeral of Caesar. So they were much impressed. So they asked me two or three more questions, and then they wished me well. So I was sure that I was going to be selected. Although, one or two questions got dropped, but I remained very confident. So I think what the interviewers want to judge is that they want to see whether the candidate is confident, number one, and they also want to see that the candidate, especially for the post of lecturer in English, that whether the candidate is able to speak English or not. So my advice to the students is that they should try to brush up their spoken English, because half of the impression is made just because of your spoken English. If your spoken English is good, if you're able to speak well in English, then you will be successful. So that is my story. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
sir. Thank you, sir, for your precious comments and for your precious views. First of all, I would like the students, please turn off your mics as well as your cameras. Cameras of many students are on. If your cameras will be on and mics will be on, it will be creating a problem with us. So if you want to listen carefully, turn off your cameras as well as mics. When you on your mics, it creates distortion in our nets. So please turn off your mics. Thank you. This was Dr. Atar Munir Siddiqui, who has shared his personal views as well as he has given general tips, very good tips for the students. Now we have Professor Dr. Adnan Tahir with us. He is with us and keeping in view his expertise, I would request Sir Adnan to please guide the students how they can prepare questions based on language before going for interview. Saradnan, you're welcome here and please share your questions that how the students should prepare for the questions when they are appearing for interview and as your area is language. So please sir guide them how to prepare the questions based on language. What type of questions on language come in the interview? Saradnan, please.
शरद नान को माइक
I
ऑन करने
request,
को कहें।
yes, Dr. Adnan Tahir, please turn on your mic and sir, please. Yes, sir. Sir, welcome here, sir. And sir,
Thank you, ma'am.
students are waiting for your precious views. Students are waiting for your precious views.
Thank you, ma'am. First of all, I would like to thank you and the Principal Government Emerson College for providing me the opportunity to speak to the students. And number two, I would like to congratulate all the students that who have qualified for the interview, and I wish them the best of luck for their interviews. So coming to the questions, so that's very particular question that how to prepare. Uh, आई वुड लाइक ऑल द लिसनर्स के थोड़ा सा अगर आप एक बॉल पेन और पेंसिल कर लें तो मैं थोड़ा सा जस्ट आई वुड लाइक टू से कि हाउ शुड यू प्रिपेयर फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल दैट यू हैव टू प्रिपेयर द क्वेश्चंस अकॉर्डिंग टू द नेचर ऑफ द क्वेश्चन क्वेश्चंस की नेचर को जरा समझ लीजिए द फर्स्ट काइंड ऑफ द क्वेश्चंस इन इंटरव्यूज दे कैन बी द फैक्चुअल क्वेश्चंस और द फैक्ट बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस इन एक क्वेश्चन आपसे हो सकते हैं जो कि इंफॉर्मेशन बेस्ड होंगे फैक्ट्स बेस्ड होंगे what is this or when this happened or who has done this who has authored this book या who is the writer of that work तो एक क्वेश्चंस होते हैं जो कि आपके फैक्चुअल क्वेश्चंस या फैक्ट बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस होंगे तो यू हैव टू प्रिपेयर देम इन अ डिफरेंट वे उसके लिए आपने वन लाइनर या वन लाइन ऑफ क्वेश्चंस की आप प्रिपरेशन कर सकते हैं then number two kind of questions, so they are the opinion-based questions in the interviews. What I have seen in the interviews, मैंने देखा या खुद भी किए. Number second, जो category questions के हैं, so that is opinion-based. The interviewers want to know your opinion on certain issues. For example, that what do you think about postmodernism? अब वो आपसे information नहीं ले रहे बल्कि आपको opinions judge कर रहे हैं. या what do you think that how is the grammar translation methodology? So do you think that it is an effective way of teaching or not? तो इसमें आप देखें ये आपके ओपिनियन बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस हैं तो ओपिनियन बेस्ड क्वेश्चन जो है उसमें आपके पास मार्जिन होता है दैट यू कैन स्पीक और यू कैन एग्री यू कैन डिसएग्री यू कैन गिव योर आर्गुमेंट्स जबकि जो फैक्ट बेस्ड क्वेश्चन होते हैं या तो आप आंसर दें या फिर सॉरी कर दें मतलब दिस नो नीड टू टू हिट एवरी बॉल हर बॉल पे आपने हिट नहीं लगानी लेट्स से अगर आपको फैक्ट बेस्ड क्वेश्चन नहीं आते तो यू कैन मिस दिस क्वेश्चन एंड यू कैन सिंपली से सॉरी लेकिन जो ओपिनियन बेस्ड क्वेश्चन है उसमें यू कैन स्पीक समथिंग आप उसको थोड़ा बहुत बात कर सकते हैं थर्ड काइंड क्वेश्चन जो है दे आर ग्रामेटिकल कॉन्सेप्ट्स या फिर लिंग्विस्टिक्स हो या लिटरेचर सो नॉर्मली आपसे क्वेश्चन पूछे जाते हैं कि व्हाट इज एलिगरी व्हाट इज डायक्रॉनिक अप्रोच व्हाट इज सिंक्रोनिक अप्रोच यानी आपसे टर्म्स बेस्ड डेफिनेशन बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस आपसे किए जाते हैं और जो फोर्थ कैटेगरी ऑफ क्वेश्चन जो है वो दे आर लैंग्वेज बेस्ड नॉर्मली दैट ग्रामर से रिलेटेड क्वेश्चंस होते हैं और सम टाइम आई हैव आल्सो सीन दैट कि ट्रांसलेशन बेस्ड क्वेश्चन भी किए जा सकते हैं तो व्हाट्स इन माय पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस आर द फोर कैटेगरीज ऑफ द क्वेश्चंस व्हिच आर आस्क्ड इन फैक्ट बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस ओपिनियन बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस और टर्म्स एंड डेफिनेशन so in four categories of questions which you have to prepare separately and differently. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for your precious views. Sir, these were the questions that can be asked from language. Sir, now please tell the students some of the specific areas which they should prepare normally. The specific particular areas for which they should prepare before appearing the exam. Students, you are requested to turn off your mics, otherwise I'll have to do that.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So your second question, so that is related with the areas. अच्छा अभी देख लें when we talk about English language, so that's very broad और इसमें बड़े different areas हैं. तो इसमें थोड़ा सा मैं I would like to say that actually what's the composition of your interviewer panel. आपका जो इंटरव्यूअर पैनल है उसकी कंपोजिशन जो है वो बड़ी मैटर करती है मोस्टली हमारे जो सीनियर literature. So they mostly tend to ask the questions from literature based questions की कोशिश करते हैं तो एक तो एरिया जो आपका है मतलब यू है यानी आप इंग्लिश का इंटरव्यू देने का मतलब है यू हैव टू प्रिपेयर लिटरेचर जो लिटरेचर रिलेटेड क्वेश्चंस हैं उसमें डिफरेंट पेजेस हैं डिफरेंट ऑथर्स हैं राइटर्स हैं डिफरेंट जॉनरा हैं डेफिनेटली आई वी हैव वेरी शॉर्ट टाइम के एक एक थोड़े सब एरियाज को डिफरेंट होगा अच्छा, फिर आप देखेंगे नंबर सेकंड जो पैनल में लोग होते हैं वो जैसे फ्रेश पीएचडीज हैं, थोड़े से यंगर एज के लोग हैं, तो उसमें आपको लिंग्विस्टिक्स के लोग भी मिलेंगे, तो दे विल बी आस्किंग द क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम लिंग्विस्टिक्स। तो नॉर्मली जो है वो क्वेश्चन ब्रॉडली स्पीकिंग वो आपके कोर लिंग्विस्टिक्स से क्वेश्चन हो सकते हैं या आपके अप्लाइड लिंग्विस्टिक्स से क्वेश्चन होते हैं, लेकिन नॉर्मली लिंग्विस्टिक्स एक थोड़ा साइंटिफिक सब्जेक्ट है, तो उसमें नॉर्मली एक वो एक जैसे मैंने अभी आपको एक फोर्थ टाइप बताई थी कि डेफिनेशन या टर्म्स बेस्ड या डेफिनेशन क्वेश्चन जो है वो ज्यादा होते हैं। तो और जो थर्ड एरिया जो है, नॉर्मली वी सी दैट इन द इंटरव्यूज द स्टूडेंट्स हु आर अपेयरिंग, मोस्ट ऑफ देम दे
सर इस
आर,
साइड से।
तो वो एमफिल होते हैं और एमफिल जो है वो अपना थीसिस भी साथ लेकर भी आते हैं। तो जो एक थर्ड जो एरिया है दैट इज फ्रॉम योर रिसर्च, or what my personal experience is that most of the students they failed in this particular area because the students they turn up in the interview but they are not prepared, so with the research questions, or when you say that you have done MPhil तो लोग फिर आपसे आपके MPhil जो रिसर्च बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस किए जाते हैं। जो आपका फोर्थ एरिया जो कंटेंट का वो ग्रामर से क्वेश्चंस आपके हो सकते हैं, ये आपका एक एरिया है। और फिफ्थ जो एरिया आपका है वो पैनल में एक आपके जो डिपार्टमेंट रिप्रेजेंटेटिव होते हैं जो नॉलेज क्वेश्चंस करते हैं, चेयरपर्सन भी जनरल नॉलेज के क्वेश्चंस करता है, तो वो एरिया भी आपने देखना है। और लास्ट एरिया जैसे डॉक्टर अतर साहब ने भी इंडिकेट किया, दैट्स अबाउट योर पर्सनैलिटी। जनरल आपको इवेल्युएट किया जाता है कि आप व्हाट यू आर एंड हु यू आर। थैंक यू मैम।
Welcome, sir. Sir, now please can you pinpoint four questions? What four top most or frequently asked questions? Any four questions that are frequently asked?
यस मैम, थैंक यू। एंड ये आप सब लोग जो इंटरव्यू के लिए अभी रेडी होना चाह रहे हैं, तो एक आप चीज नोट कर लें कि फोर क्वेश्चन तो आपसे तकरीबन 90% चांसेस हैं जो पूछे जाएंगे। मैंने आपको पहले गैस दे दिया, आपको पहले बता दिया है, तो यू शुड प्रिपेयर दीज फोर क्वेश्चंस। द नंबर वन क्वेश्चन ये आप समझिए कि दैट इज अ फ्री बॉल गिवन टू यू, सो यू कैन प्ले अ 6, कैन प्ले अ 4। आप चाहे दो स्कोर बना लें उस पे, चाहे तो एक बना लें, चाहे 6 भी लगा सकते हैं। द फर्स्ट मोस्ट क्वेश्चन दैट इज इंट्रोड्यूस योरसेल्फ। अच्छा, बिलीव मी दैट सो फर्स्ट इंप्रेशन या आपको जो फर्स्ट पर्सनालिटी इंप्रेशन है दैट इज फ्रॉम द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन। नाउ यू आर गिवन अ फ्री बॉल टू हिट। अच्छा प्लीज, यहाँ थोड़ा सा टाइम शॉर्ट है, मैं सिंपली कहूंगा कि इंट्रोडक्शन में यू आर नॉट फिलिंग एनी फॉर्म। आप परफॉर्मा ना फील करें कि जी ये मेरी डेट ऑफ बर्थ है, ये मैंने डिग्री इस ईयर मिली, ये मैंने इस डिग्री इस ईयर मिली, नहीं, इट्स नॉट अ परफॉर्मा ऑफ योर इंफॉर्मेशन, बट एक्चुअली दे वांट टू नो अबाउट योर पर्सनैलिटी। आप हाउ आर यू थिंकिंग अबाउट लाइफ, आपके लाइफ में प्रायोरिटीज किए हैं, आपके एम्स किए हैं, आप क्या बनना चाह रहे हैं, पीछे आपके लाइफ की स्ट्रगल किया आपकी, तो टेल अबाउट योर सेल्फ, ना कि आपको वहाँ पे फॉर्म फिल करें। तो दिस इज द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन जो आप सबसे पूछा जाएगा, इसको अच्छी तरह प्रिपेयर कर लें। नंबर टू क्वेश्चन जिसे आप कहते हैं कि लीडिंग क्वेश्चन, यहाँ पे आप आगे फंस भी सकते हैं और आप विन भी कर सकते हैं। वो क्या क्वेश्चन होता है कि व्हाट इज योर एरिया ऑफ इंटरेस्ट। नॉर्मली ये क्वेश्चन हर दफा पूछा जाता है। अच्छा, आमतौर पर जो मेरे जैसे स्टूडेंट्स हैं वो बता देते हैं क्लासिकल्स को। अगर आपने नॉर्मली, मैंने जो मेरा अपना एक्सपीरियंस, जब आप क्लासिकल्स के बारे में बताते हैं तो समझे मतलब यू आर बीइंग ट्रैप्ड। तो कोशिश करें कि आप उन ऑथर्स के बारे में बताएं कि जिनको आपने पढ़ा हो, लेकिन बड़े बड़े राइटर्स के बारे में तो सबको पता होता है, लेकिन जो थोड़े से मतलब लेस रेड राइटर्स हैं, तो उनको उनके बारे में अगर आपका इंटरेस्ट है तो डू शेयर इट। अच्छा, दिस इज द लीडिंग क्वेश्चन, यू कैन लीड द पैनल। आप उनको लीड कर सकते हैं, वो आपकी तरफ आ जाएंगे और जहां पे आप उनको लेके जाना चाहें दे विल फॉलो यू। तो ये आपके सेकंड आपको फ्री बॉल मिलती है। थर्ड फ्री बॉल जो आपको नॉर्मल मिलती है दैट इज हैव यू रेड एनीथिंग अदर देन सिलेबस। ये आपके पास एक फ्री बॉल है, आप उनको उर्दू लिटरेचर में ले जाएं, रशियन में ले जाएं, आप उनको फ्रेंच में ले जाएं, उर्दू आप सराइकी में ले जाएं, पंजाबी में ले जाएं, कहीं भी आप उनको ले जाएं, तो दे विल फॉलो यू। तो ये आपको थर्ड आपको फ्री बॉल मिलती है, यू कैन प्ले। और फोर्थ जो आपको नॉर्मली क्वेश्चन किया जाता है आमतौर पर, तो दिस इज अबाउट योर रिसर्च वर्क एंड रिसर्च थीसिस, या जो प्रोजेक्ट आपने किया होता है, तो दैट इज द टाइम। अगर आपने जेन्युइन काम किया तो नाउ यू कैन विन। तो व्हाट्स माय पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस के नाउ यू हैव द फोर फ्री बॉल्स टू प्ले, और उसको अच्छी तरह प्लान कर लें, ये लाजमी आपसे क्वेश्चन होंगे, और यू कैन प्ले द बेस्ट इन दीज फोर बॉल्स। थैंक यू मैम।
Sir, welcome. Sir, now please tell the students what are the do's and don'ts of interview. Actually, sometimes very confident students become nervous when they go for the interview. So I think this is very important for them to know what to do there and what not to do there.
जी थैंक यू मैम। मेरे ख्याल से डूज के वाले से डॉक्टर अतर साहब हैज ब्रीफ्ड वेल, तो आई फोकस ऑन डोंट्स ऑफ द इंटरव्यूज। देखिए एक मैं वर्ड आपसे यूज करता हूँ, ओवर, तो प्लीज इस चीज से अवॉइड कीजिएगा। नंबर वन, कॉन्फिडेंट, टू बी कॉन्फिडेंट इज गुड, बट टू बी ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट दैट्स वेरी नेगेटिव। क्योंकि समटाइम्स स्टूडेंट्स जो हैं वो बड़े ओवर, देखें आप यू आर, जो आपका पैनल है उसको अंडरमाइन ना करें। सो दे वांट अ स्पेसिफिक अ स्पेशल बिहेवियर फ्रॉम यू। तो कॉन्फिडेंट हो, लेकिन बट इफ यू बिकम ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट तो बिलीव मी दैट विल बी प्रॉब्लम टू यू। अच्छा, इसी तरह यू मस्ट स्पीक वेल, बट ओवर स्पीकिंग दैट कैन आल्सो बी प्रॉब्लम टू यू। अगर शॉर्ट क्वेश्चन का शॉर्ट आंसर है तो शॉर्ट आंसर दें, लॉन्ग आंसर आपसे चाह रहे हैं लॉन्ग आंसर दें। मतलब खामखा आप ओवर स्पीक ना करें कि आपको इंटरव्यूअर्स को बार बार कहने के पड़े कि भाई अच्छा इट्स ओके, कमिंग टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन। तो प्लीज एक तो ओवर स्पीक ना करें, ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट ना हो। और थर्ड, जो मैंने पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस किया, प्लीज डोंट ओवर बोस्ट अबाउट योरसेल्फ। अपने आप को एक नॉर्मल इंसान समझें, डोंट बोस्ट अबाउट योरसेल्फ व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट योर that you are something very special, or you have the genius of literature, and और आपके पास ये चीजें, बिकॉज जितनी आप चीजें अपने काउंट करते हैं तो उतना आप देखिए द इंटरव्यूअर्स दे आर रेजिंग देयर एक्सपेक्टेशंस फ्रॉम यू। तो अपने बारे में व्हाट यू आर, क्योंकि देखिए अगर आप हम्बल हैं और आप गुड कम्युनिकेटर हैं तो यू कैन बी सिलेक्टेड, बट इफ यू आर स्पीकिंग मच अबाउट यू तो आप सिंपली उनके एक्सपेक्टेशंस को आप हाई कर रहे हैं। और एक और आपका डोंट नेगेटिव, डोंट गिव द रॉन्ग आंसर। देखिए रॉन्ग आंसर जो है दैट इज समथिंग लाइक द नेगेटिव मार्किंग इन द पेपर। तो अगर आप किसी क्वेश्चन को ब्लैंक छोड़ देंगे तो 0 नंबर होगा, लेकिन अगर आप नेगेटिव रॉन्ग आंसर देंगे तो ये दैट विल बी जस्ट लाइक एक नेगेटिव मार्किंग हो जाती है। तो सिंपली से सॉरी, इफ यू डोंट नो एनीथिंग यू कैन से सॉरी। बार बार सॉरी भी कह देंगे तो इट्स नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम टू यू। लेकिन बट इफ यू ट्राई टू गिव द रॉन्ग आंसर दैट्स वेरी बैड, दैट विल क्रिएट अ वेरी बैड इंप्रेशन। और लास्ट जो डोंट में आपको कहूंगा, डोंट अंडरमाइन द पैनल। so they are very well educated, well experienced person, so they can trap you from anywhere। तो उनको बड़ा एक समझेंगे जैसे आप किसी वॉर में जाते हैं तो एक समझे कि आपका पैनल जो है दैट कैन गिव यू वेरी टफ टाइम। थैंक यू मैडम।
Oh, welcome, sir. Thank you, Dr. Adnan Tahir Saab. And now I would request Sir Shafiq Chaudhary Saab. Sir, thank you. You are kind enough to be with us here. Sir, welcome.
To invite me for this panel. Actually, as you know, I'm a retired person. For many years ago, I got retired, but I would like to share this my experiences because I've been conducting a few interviews in the mission. Many things Dr. Adran and Dr. Atamuri Siddiqui, they have already told to the students. But in my experience, there are few things which I would like to convey to my students. The first thing, they should be confident. They should be well prepared for the interview. Interview actually it is a formal meeting to get a job. And candidates are asked questions so that they would be given whether they are judged, whether they are suitable for this job or not. Therefore, they should be relevant to the questions. And the first question, the first impression, as Dr. Adnan has already told, that is introduce yourself. That is the first impression of the student. They should be well communicative. They should try to communicate themselves confidently and concise and precisely, not so other thing only on the rally. इसके अलावा मैंने जो ऑब्जर्व किया अपने एक्सपीरियंसेस में, जब मैं आई वाज कंडक्टिंग द इंटरव्यूज, कुछ स्टूडेंट्स they get confused when they are going to face the panel. They should not be confused. They should be confident, and they should prepare a specific area for their interview, and there should be a very easy, not because literature is a vast subject. They should try to prepare themselves for a very easy subject or easy writer, for example, Keats or other easy one, not for Shakespeare, so that the panel, the other people, they will not trap him. Trap him. Otherwise, because interview is not a test of their knowledge, it is a test of their ability, whether they can communicate, they can deliver, they can express themselves or not. Therefore, besides from the subject, the first thing is the subject. They should be able to have a specific knowledge or command over the subject. Besides from subject, they should focus other things, for example, Pakistan movement, general knowledge, Islamic knowledge as well, because there are other members. There's a departmental representative, PR, and means the member of the commission. They ask other questions besides their subject. They should be well prepared for their other areas of their knowledge, general knowledge, current affairs. They should also prepare these questions.
Thank you, sir, for your precious views. Thank you, sir, for your precious views. Now I would humbly request Professor Dr. Zia Ahmed, Principal, Government Emerson College, Multan, who has actually given us a platform to boost up the students, and it is due to Professor Dr. Zia Ahmed that we are sitting here. Sir, thank you, and I would like you to please enlighten the students with your precious views, the students who are aspirants and are upcoming lecturers too, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Ms. Rabia, and very warm welcome from my side to Dr. Adnan Saab and Dr. Siddiqui Saab and all rest of the people who have joined here. And congratulations to all of you, the aspirants of becoming lecturer in the Department of Education. It has been my wish to provide some type of guidance to the students, though I cannot say that this is the final opinion. It cannot be final in any way. You people need to go to other sources of learning as well. Our purpose was to share our experience with you so that you may reduce some of the burden of anxiety and the problem which you are suffering at this moment, and to provide a little bit of guidance to our students so that that may be handier to them when they appear before the board. Well, as far as I am concerned, I would say that we should follow the advice of our Prime Minister, Imran Khan, who always says, "घबराना नहीं है." But say कि आपने घबराना तो वाकई नहीं है, लेकिन थोड़ा थोड़ा जरूर घबराना है. Because unless you feel a little bit of anxiety, you cannot prepare yourself. The fear of being makes you a little bit ready for that. You invest a lot of your time and talent in order to prepare yourself.
Emerson College, Multan के government college के boy.
I would please invite you.
The students are advised to turn off their mics.
Please turn off your mic and camera as well. Because if you speak, I will be disturbed. Okay. Now, see, there are certain areas on which our students should focus especially. But before I identify those areas, I would say that
तुम्हारा MBA तो होना चाहिए ना.
Sir, chat.
log in into mute topic.
Yes, sir. Sir, इनको mute कर दीजिए.
हमारे जो है ना वो हमारे जो PhD जो अमेरिका से PhD कर
Students, you are making noise. So this is a limited session. So please turn off your mics.
Thank you, madam. So once
Stop हो गई. Stop हो गई.
again appearing to the examiner did some time. I mean, selected studies have been made by the student, and sometimes it happens that in the panel there are the people who have qualified from other universities, say Punjab University, or if you are appearing in Multan, it can be Islamic University Bahawalpur or some other university. So syllabi may vary. I would advise that the students should clear their own area, whatever or where from you have done your masters or your BS English, you should clarify only that. And if the question comes from other area and you don't know, just skip the question by saying sorry and by telling that you have not studied that type of book or that type of writer, instead of trying to guess it, answering wrongly. That should be the first care that the student should take care. And secondly, you see, it happens most of the time that there you feel a lot of anxiety, a lot of problem, and for that purpose, Shafiq Saab sitting beside me has suggested something very practical, that you should choose one area on which you feel more and more expert. That area will be helpful for you when you tell the people that you have read this area, you are expert in that area, because mostly the question is asked to the student, which is the subject or which is the author you have read or you like, or something like that is asked. At that time, you will be telling only that specific person, writer, or author, or any book you have read. Possibly there are 1, 2, 3 questions about that you may be telling to the people. In that way, there will be more score as compared to saying no to these questions. And thirdly, you see, we have another area, very strong area actually, where the people are going to test your skill of delivering lecture. It is not the kind of thing, as Dr. Adnan has pointed out, that it's not the thing that they are going to check your knowledge, that you know the facts and figures or not. It is the kind of speech you want to give there. I mean, you are going to be selected as a lecturer. You will be handling a classroom where there is a possibility of having 40 students, 50, or even sometimes more than 100 students, as it happens in my college classrooms. There, your voice level, clarity of your voice, and your confidence of delivery, these things will be more important. Knowledge can be learned, knowledge can be gathered, but if the delivery of the knowledge is not possible, it will be very difficult for you. So practice at home how you can speak clearly, how you can manage your voice stress, and how you will be able to convey your idea to the panelist. And the fourth thing is that, as again and again Dr. Saab has pointed out, Dr. Adnan Saab has pointed out, that when you talk at that time, you should not be over at all. It happens. Young people go before the panel and perhaps they think that by speaking too much, that by speaking loudly, or by showing some cleverness, they will be able to impress the people. It is not at all. As Dr. Saab has pointed out, they are very experienced people. They are the people who are looking at you at that time when you speak. So you go there in order to get a job, in order to get something, in order to secure something. You are not there to impress them. So be as humble as possible, but not, you see, you may not lower your voice as much. You may be talking to the people in a very confident way. For example, we always say that talk to a person by looking into his eyes. Just look into his eyes, but don't stare at him in that way कि उसको लगे कि आप उसको घूरने जा रहे हैं. Not like that. So in that way, you should adopt an attitude which is really very impressive type of style. I mean, you appear to be a obedient person, a humble person, or a person who has come here and is showing respect to the other people as well. And after that, I would say that the Dr. Adar Saab has pointed out about the dresses of the people or about the parents of the people. I also want to share with you that in case of dressing, in case of appearance also, you have not to be over again, taking or borrowing phrase from Dr. Adnan Saab. Here also, you need to appear formal up to some extent. Formality, this is a formal meeting as Chaudhary Saab has pointed out. In that formal meeting, you need to be formal, more and more formal. In case of your appearance, in case of your talking, you cannot use any words or languages which you use with your friends or in the street. You need to be very to the point person. For example, whatever the question is asked, answer only that part of the question. Do not answer extraordinarily. And while you are answering, at that time, you should be careful by not saying anything which actually you don't know. In order to impress the people, don't say the things which you don't know. Say only the things which you know, because the next question will be on that very thing. And in case of introduction, the very first question I would say, in introduction, for example, when the question is asked, introduce yourself. That question will be asked to everybody. At that time, I say that you should not follow the routine way. You should go, first of all, to the highest possible thing you have secured or you are doing. For example, if you are a lecturer somewhere, if you are doing some other job, for example, if you are conducting a project somewhere, tell that first of all. And after that, tell your highest qualification. Then come down, and I hope that they will stop you somewhere. And in that way, there will be a kind of good performance for you if you go for that. I mean, first, the good thing should be highlighted instead of highlighting something very ordinary. And then in certain interviews, there is another special thing which happens that they ask you to deliver a lecture of 1 minute. I mean, they would say, "We are your class. Okay, this is the topic. Deliver a lecture." And my advice is that don't be afraid of such a question. The easiest possible question. First, remind the people who are listening to you what had happened yesterday. Just one or two sentences that yesterday we learned this or that, and today we are going to learn this. What are the objectives you are going to achieve? What are the ways and means you are going to use for that purpose? And after that, I hope so, okay, 1 minute will be passed. And similarly, two other things happen in the interviews. Either the people give you a paper, they ask you to write something on that. Do write very carefully because at that time you can commit mistakes also. Just take a long breath and write something there. And if they write themselves and ask you to correct, spend some time in correcting that. Don't be in a hurry. Understand the sentence written there, then try to correct that. Another style can be that you will be asked to go on the whiteboard. Sometimes it happens, though not frequently, that you may be delivering a lecture and writing something on the board. Even at that time, be very not very fast. Something like slow speed should be used so that you may be understanding the thing and doing the thing as well. And then a few of the things that I also want to tell you people with respect to your presence in the panels, presence when you are in the room, for example, or when you enter into the room, when you go back into the room. When you enter, for example, the very first thing is that you should greet them. You should say good morning, or you should say assalamu alaikum, whatever the way. In a very polite style, you should say that, and after that, wait till the time you are asked to sit on the chair. Do not go and sit just with your own will, and sit comfortably. Sometimes I have seen that people would sit in such a way that their back is not touching their back seat. Instead, they are just hanging on the seat. That goes to show that you are not confident, you are not in a comfortable position. Sit yourself in comfortably so that your body and mind work very well. And after that, when the interview is over, they will say you thank you. Do not try to sit there at that time when they say thank you to you. Just stand up and say Khuda Hafiz or goodbye to these people and leave the room. Do not try to stop there and listen to the things which they are saying. That would count among the good manners for you. And afterwards, there are a few other tips that I would also give to the students regarding the questions which are asked to the people from literature or from language. Questions are coming from nowhere, let us say. Questions are not determined, let us say. For this purpose, the preparations which you made for your written test should be on your fingertips. And after that, some of the preparations should be made with respect to the class teaching, for example, teaching methodologies. There are different methodologies or approaches, for example. Eclectic approach is very much useful in Pakistan, the direct method or indirect or whatever these grammatical translation methods are. ये भी आपको अच्छी तरह से देखना चाहिए. And sometimes the question could be on administration as well, that if the students are to be controlled or how you will do that at your college level. Same could be the case with the girls, especially the girls candidate, for example. They can be asked that if there's a class of the male student, how they would manage that class if they are making noise, if they're making trouble. Some of the ways and means should be there in your mind. There are plenty of books and websites which you can consult for this purpose. And same is the case with some of the teaching devices. You know, we are living in 21st century and we are living in corona age as well. These days, online education has become very much important. So I would say that there could be some question on online education, how much it is successful, how much it is not. I would ask my audience that you should not go negative by saying, no, it's 100% wrong. You should say that it's supportive and helpful instead of saying that it's totally negative, because in the absence of anything, at least something should be present. So in that way, try to convince the people that you are a very positive person and you have the positive attitude and you can contribute into the society and into the education system as well. Same is the case with regarding 21st century, that new devices are coming. The concept of digital classroom has come. How to use these devices, you should have good knowledge of the names and the nomenclature of these devices, and how these devices can be used also. You must show your skill in that. And I would advise everybody to have a good experience of using MS Word, for example, because sometimes it was suggested that every person who is coming for the interview of lecture, they should know how to use MS Word, or how to use Excel, or how to use that PowerPoint. These things should also be on your fingertips. And then at least 15 days newspapers should be consulted. 15 days news should be consulted, so that you can refer to some important events or some important things or some important personalities which have become prominent in the last 15 days. The question can be there, especially the last 2 days, especially that very morning, something can be asked from you. So in that way, it's very easy. You can consult the news on your cell phone, and you can go to the editorials of newspapers. With respect to grammar and with respect to other things, it cannot be determined what questions can be there. That depends how much pairs of words you know and how much idiomatic things you know. But whatever the case may be, one should be ready. Readiness should be there. That readiness will count. So these are some of the things which possibly I can say. Hopefully, there are certain areas which I have not been able to pinpoint. So, Madam Rabia, this is what I can say.
Yes, sir. Sir, you have answered all the questions that I received from the students in the chat box, and previously I received on the WhatsApp. All the questions are being answered. But sir, you yourself attempted many competitive exams, and almost over every exam you have qualified. All the exams you have qualified successfully, and presently you are part of recruitment panel for competitive examination. So, sir, one question which is left unanswered, and the question by the student is that what is the composition and the composition of the panel and the role of the members in that, and how the marks are calculated, how the aggregate is calculated. So, sir, this question is not answered yet. Otherwise, all the questions are cleared.
Mostly panelists are five in number. Sometimes they could be six also, and sometimes they can be four also. That depends on the availability of the members at that time. Actually, member of PPSC is only one who is leading the whole panel. The remaining ones are the participants of that interview panel. That member is the engine of the whole panel. He is the one who introduces to you your own self. I mean, he's keeping your admission form, and he's keeping the other information before him, and he would relate all that and make it a type of confirmation that everything which is being said about you has been filled by you. His role is like that. And after that, you have two subject specialists. These two subject specialists can pose questions on literature and language as far as they have the expertise. For example, one may be expert in literature, another may be in language. They can put in questions with respect to literature and language. Mostly 3 to 4 questions are put, or the maximum it could be 5 questions per head. And these two people are there to evaluate you, how much knowledge you have gained and how much creativity you have and how much you can explain the things, for example. They may be having a memory test sometime as well, but mostly it is the question which is asking you your views, as Dr. Adnan Sab said. And in the same way, the next person can be the DR, that is the departmental representative. He may be asking you a question about the department, for example, how many colleges or schools are there, what is the structure of any school or college. You people are aspirants for college, so that is why the structure may be asked to you people. Intermediate classes, what type of syllabus, what is smart syllabus these days, these questions could be asked to you. And similarly, he can also ask a question about maintenance of the classroom, how the classroom is maintained. I mean, what type of sitting arrangement or what is group discussion, what is peer work, he may be asking these things to people. The departmental rep is asking these things. And after that, next person, if he's available, is a psychologist. That person is actually looking and observing you all the time. He's feeling how you sit and how you talk and how much you feel upset at certain question when you don't know the answer. He's also seeing that when you know the answer, what is your reaction? Because the same things will count very much important in the classroom. That psychologist is also watching your style of sitting, going, and after that standing, and then talking to the people and listening as well. Sometimes you have the habit of saying, "Hey, kya kaha hai tumne?" So he's the type of person noting all these gestures and ways of movement. And after that, the chairperson possibly may be asking you some more questions. And here is the area where you cannot specify what question can land on. This is the most difficult area because he can ask you about anything. Say it could be literature, language, whatever your area is. And the person may be asking you about general knowledge also. He may be putting question on the situation. Some type of debate can also take place, discussion can also take place, depending on the time. Okay, as far as your question about the division of marks is concerned, I cannot say anything about that because never a policy is revealed like that. But what I can say is that your degrees count very much, first of all. Your achievements, for example, from matriculation, what divisions do you have, first, second, or third? I hope third to apply nahi kar sakte. Then intermediate is there, then graduation is there, and if you are a master, that's also there. And if you are MPhil, passed and qualified before the application date, then you have 2 marks for that as well. रिसर्च पेपर्स कोई नंबर उसके नहीं होते हैं, वो आप चाहे बताएं या ना बताएं, एमफिल डिग्री के नंबर हैं, एंड मे बी समटाइम उन्होंने कुछ पोजीशन के नंबर भी रखे हुए होते हैं. एंड आफ्टर दैट योर रिटन टेस्ट, उसकी एक परसेंटाइल है, नॉट 100%, उसकी परसेंटाइल काउंट करती है, वो बहुत ज्यादा इसके अंदर इंपॉर्टेंट है. फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ योर डिग्रीज कैरी लेस मार्क्स, योर रिटन टेस्ट कैन कंपनसेट. And sometimes it happens that if your degrees are all first class, for example, it goes to give you a higher edge, because in written examination, possibly mostly the marks are up to some extent same. And then comes the last one, interview. These are the areas, 3 to 4 areas in the marks of which count very much in making an aggregate, how much you qualify for that or not. So in that way, this is the kind of divisioning. We cannot say how many marks one person has, how many marks are allocated for this or that purpose, but this is the policy of the Public Service Commission, approved by the government, how they calculate the marks. And lastly, yes, I would say, I think everybody will agree with me, that you have not to be adverse about anything in your interview. You have not to blame anybody in your interview, because you are the citizen of the same country, same place you are living, same society you share. If you don't share the blame, then how can others share the blame? So don't blame anybody. Don't put the responsibility on anyone. Be positive as much as possible. And yes, if you know the answer, for example, and sometimes it happens that the candidate knows the answer very correct and exact, but the panelist possibly may not be knowing. At that time, do not try to insert by saying कि मैंने तो खुद पढ़ा है, फलानी किताब में लिखा हुआ है, लाइन में आपको दिखाऊं. There is no need of that. क्योंकि sometimes it is possible कि वो बंदा आपको चेक ही कर रहा हो कि जब आपकी सिचुएशन ये हो, फिर आप क्या करते हैं. At that time, if you become aggressive, if you become rude, so that can be, very much problematic. Another question came to me that the panelists are pleasing to girls and they are not pleasing to boys. Is it the case is some kind of gender discrimination? I would say do not keep these things in your mind. There is no gender discrimination. Punjab Public Service Commission, Federal Public Service Commission, all are very dependable, very much important areas, important departments for the selection of the people. I am the witness of that. As Rabia has introduced me by saying, I have qualified, Public Service Commission for 3 times, and each time I got the position. And I must say, I'm not an extraordinary type of person, but this is the proof of the credibility and the belief of Public Service Commission that they are the best judges. They appoint the best people in order to evaluate people. So there should be no doubt at all that they are biased for the girl, they are biased for the race. No, not at all. They are maintaining their credibility since the establishment of Pakistan and Public Service Commission. I am the very proof of that in my last interview, I qualified the whole of Punjab and became, first in position. How could I do that? I don't have any recommendations at all. I am myself the recommendation. So believe in this, you will be definitely achieving whatever it is. So there's no discrimination at all. Yes, any more questions?
Thank you, sir. Sir, I have got one question from a student, and that question is from the area of Dr. Athar Munir Siddiqui. If Dr. Saab is there, I would like sir to please answer. If Dr. Athar is there.
Yeah, please. What's
Yes,
the question?
Sir, one of the girl has put forward a question that whether they can bring some kind of poetry or any other piece of work if they have written for the interview.
All
Can
right,
they bring?
I have already answered that question in the way that if you have
Yes, sir.
written something and that is already published, then you should bring it to and you should show it to the panel, because that would count as a credit. But if something is not published, so there is no need to bring that.
Thank you, sir, for your views. Sir, this was a question that was answered, but it again came, so I repeated that question. Thank you, Professor Dr. Zia Ahmed, who has elegantly discussed the things about the interview panel, how to introduce yourself before going interview panel, how the students can overcome their anxiety, and what were the problematic areas for the students, and about the subject content as well, and that how they have to prepare for the interview so that they can qualify the interview. Sir Shafiq, our worthy guest, he has in a very beautiful way, he has experienced, he has presented his views, he has shared his views, he has presented.
To close, I need just 30 seconds.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am closing.
30 seconds. I really, from the core of my heart, I thank my friend Chaudhary Shafiq Saab, who has spared time, especially he was not free.
Yes,
And on my request, he freed himself and came here and shared his valuable experience with us. And same is the case with Dr. Adnan Saab. He is a very busy person, and he has been selected in the University of Okada. So he's got a lot of responsibilities, but still on my request, he came here. Sir, I'm thankful to you, very much thankful to you. Dr. Athar is the running spirit behind all that. He actually initiated all this. So I am really thankful to Dr. Athar as well. And I will request him to do these things again and again. Madam Rabia, our precious
Yes,
member
sir.
of the department, again, she is the one who has taken pains after leaving her family and kids behind. Those duties are on her, but still she spared the time and came here. And above all,
Sir,
I'm thankful to the IT team of this college who has managed all that, especially Professor Jasim Saab, who is all the time available for such activities, and hopefully we shall be doing it again as well. On behalf of my college, my colleagues, and the whole team I'm heading, I am going to anticipate some very good candidates who can qualify. So good luck to everybody. And when you are qualified, do not forget that there were the people who managed such sessions for you. Thank you very much.
sir, special thanks from my side that you have provided us this opportunity, and I hope this will be contributing for the success of the students, and this will be shared on the college official website as well for the consultation. Thank you, all of you. Thank you, sir.